This is Live in the Moment, presented by Legends in the Making in West New York Football Report. I am Tyler Gilbert from West New York Football Report. To my right is Matt Matsalavage, also from West New York Football Report. Leon Thompson, also from West New York Football Report. And Dylan McDuffie from Legends in the Making. And today we have some special guests. We have Coach Lee Benkhe. He's been at Canisius, he's been everywhere, man. Hell of a coach. And from Sweet Home, we have Damari Yancey and Daquon Stone. Guys, give your positions in your class.
Slot, kick return, class of 2025.
Running back, class of 2025.
And guys, let's start with you. You guys had a hell of a game on Friday against Grand Island High School. Talk about what went into that. Talk about some Sweet Home football.
I'll say we started slow, in my opinion. But, like, since I scored the first touchdown, Nair Patterson scored the first touchdown, 40-yard reception. And then after that, we just got it going.
You guys absolutely did get it rolling. I mean, it was a masterclass on offense. And then, Daquon, talk about your season. Talk about Sweet Home football from your perspective.
Sweet Home football, it's pretty good. I only played 3 games right now since I got injured the first game. But I got 7 touchdowns in 3 games right now, so it's going pretty good.
Oh, yeah, 7 touchdowns in 3 games is pretty good, man.
With that.
And then Leon and Matt, you were there with me for the Sweet Home Grand Island game. Talk about these guys, what you saw from them.
I mean, what didn't I see out of Dakari here? I mean, he did it in every which way possible. You know, kick return, punt return, 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, you know, from a guy that we weren't really necessarily looking at to be that impact player. I mean, you sure proved us wrong. So, I mean, keep that up for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, even what Leon said, I think going into the second half, I had my play of the game all laid out as soon as I saw you run back that second kick. That punt return was beautiful also. Yeah, you're a real high-flying player, and, you know, I'm very happy to see you guys perform like that. But, yeah, that was a hell of a game. I didn't know what to expect going into that game from either team, Grand Island or Sweet Home, but what I saw from Sweet Home, I was very impressed by. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you. We were really talking about it going into that game, just, you know, between you guys and Grand Island. You know, like, these are just 2 teams that, you know, we didn't really know all that much about going into it. So, I mean, I was very, very thankful for the opportunity for you guys to go at it and, you know, figure out what you guys are all about as teams, and to see a close contest on top of that. I mean, it was just an awesome performance from everyone involved.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit, you know, on us, I think, for not having you on our radar. I think
right.
Even with the top 25 ranking going on, you know, you guys weren't getting as much love as, you know, I think you should have been. And, you know, I think now we're going to be seeing a bit of a jump out of the voters. But, yeah, you talked about your injury. Tell us what it was like kind of work back from that. It's always hard to come back from an injury, especially that early in the season. But, I mean, you've obviously come back and performed real well. What did you do to kind of get back mentally and physically from that?
I was just praying every day. I was working out on my shoulders. Just kept working out. Yeah, shoulders got back good.
Yeah. Can you guys speak to your coaching staff at all? You know, what are they doing that's helping you guys succeed?
Giving the ball to the best players. That's all you got to do, and that's how you got to win.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
And then you guys, you're both seniors this year. You're both looking to play at the next level. Can you talk about your recruiting experience so far? Like, do you have any interest? Any teams have offered you? Talk about what you guys have gone through, you know, during the recruitment process so far.
Going into my senior year summer, I picked up an offer from Gannon at a camp. And then after that, my recruitment been going smooth.
Okay, cool. What about you, Daquon?
We don't got an offer right now, but I got interest in UB. But hopefully I get one after this season.
Hopefully, man, you could be the next Dylan McDuffie coming from the Sweet Home Panthers of the UB Bulls. And then, you know, Dylan is a guy who's played here in Section 6. You had a lot of success. You moved on to the next level. Is there anything you'd want to tell these 2 that are here today, or just anybody who's going to watch this, you know, what should they look out for in recruiting, and what are the things that they need to focus on?
Well, first, I would say I think that, you know, nowadays y'all gotta just remember that social media, like, you know, the instant gratification of recruiting isn't real. So just trust your own process. Don't really worry about who's getting what offer. At the end of the day, how many offers people have don't matter. Only can sign on one school. So just, you know, whatever school is showing you most love, no matter what level it is, D1, D2, D3, always be respectful to coaches. You never know where a coach might end up. You know what I mean? So just always remember to sell yourself, sell your brand, and, you know, just make sure you represent yourself and your family in a way that a coach is going to want to, you know, give you $1 million for.
And then Coach Benkhe, you've been on a lot of recruiting trips with some of your former players and athletes that you train. Can you talk about, you know, what these players should look out for on those recruiting trips?
Yeah, I think the first things first, and that's conducting yourself with class, making sure that you're, you know, dressed appropriately. You don't show up on visits, you know, with the pajama pants on and everything like that. I've actually had the pleasure of going on a couple of visits with Damari. He's been with me since he was in middle school as a wide receiver university guy. And, you know, I've seen him there conduct himself professionally. And he's actually turned some heads, you know, at the high D1 level with his speed. So going into this year, you know, and I'm kind of getting away from your initial question, but to your point about Sweet Home, I had talked to Dylan prior to the year, and I had put them up there before I even had a ranking. I was like, I'm telling you, watch out, because I knew what he could do. And I've heard of Daquon through the grapevine, and I know he could play football. They got Nizer Richardson too, who's formerly a Canisius guy, and I know what he brings from the safety position. So I know Sweet Home. I knew they were going to come with it. It's just going to take some time for them to really gel after that first game. They're kind of starting to see it now. But to your point, though, about college visits, man, first things first, I tell every kid, I don't care if you are the LeBron James of football. If you can't pass classes and get good grades, you can't get into the school. Therefore, you know, it's not even worth entertaining. If your grades aren't good, you're not going to play at the next level. And that's first things first. Secondly, you know, I tell kids, you got to update your huddle. It's a thing you need to do on a weekly basis. And, you know, after the first 3 games, I have coaches reaching out to me about certain guys, talking about, you know, you got to put your first 3 games together. I need your stats. I need this and that. So I reach out to my guys and I tell them, hey, I need this. We got to push it to these coaches. And then they got to, you know, use Twitter to your advantage. I know Dylan briefly touched on the social media thing, and it could be a detriment as well as, you know, your best friend. You don't want to look into what everybody else has going on, but you certainly want to put yourself out there, you know, put your highlights out there, your stats out there, follow coaches, build a rapport with them. And then those coaches you build a rapport with, then in the summer and when they have camps, go visit those camps, introduce yourself to said coaches, and then they know who you are from social media, and then you can build a relationship from there. It's like one big domino effect. It's not, you know, you're not going to have a great game and then all of a sudden get recruited. You got to kind of market yourself. And social media is free. So you can get out there and you can, you know, create your platform and the type of player you are and have people vouch for you. And, you know, it's just kind of one big circle.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then Dylan, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on this real quick. You bringing the huddle stuff up just made me really think about, for those of you, you know, coaches, players, trainers who don't know how to properly make your highlight tape, one of the big things is don't have a whole bunch of downtime on there. Like, these college coaches watch thousands of kids a day. Like, they sometimes don't even get a chance to watch it. The recruiting staff is watching it first, and their job is to solely watch highlight tape after highlight tape. So if your highlight play is taking 10 seconds of you and your team walking to the line of scrimmage before every single time, they are not going to watch it. And also, don't save your highlight tapes like by chronological order of the game. Put your best plays every game first. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter the game. Put your best plays from all of your games in order. Don't just go week 1, week 2, week 3. When you have enough highlights, like, you have 3 plays to catch a coach attention. So if them 30 seconds of them 3 plays not good enough, then they're going to cut it off. So don't save something for the middle of your highlight tape or just being lazy, not putting it in the order it needs to be.
No, absolutely. And a lot of coaches that I know that have been at the collegiate level say they only watch 30 seconds. So definitely make sure you are putting your best plays forward and you're getting to them quick. And then Dylan, you touched on it earlier, the top 25 poll. Something that, you know, Coach Benkhe, myself, Matt, Leon, and Dylan are a part of. And, you know, we do catch some slack for it from time to time, you know, where we put teams and our reasoning. So I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to go around and just let teams know what we're looking for, maybe help, you know, show them that we don't hate you. We really don't hate you. It's just opinion and, you know, where we come from, our football background. So Dylan, you want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll first start by saying everybody has different things that they like. You know, there's no perfect system to, you know, there's always a couple teams mad at college football playoffs. So, you know, rankings aren't science. It's just opinion based. And, what people see. So don't take offense, just keep working. But me personally, I know everybody has a little different, things that they like to see. I like competition. You know what I mean? I don't judge teams that, play a harder schedule, that have certain losses, or, you know what I mean, a team that's playing back to back good teams that, isn't having flashy wins. I think the sign of a good team is being able to, find different ways to win. Having, 1 week you guys are run heavy, another week you guys are having explosive plays, another week it's a low scoring game, you guys find a way to win defensive football. I mean, because that goes into complementary football, and those are the teams that win, late into the playoffs. Teams that have certain games where, they won because of defense, or they won because of the run game, they won because of a star receiver. So I mean, it's about being complete as a team. And I look at competition. I also like to look at, obviously talent is a factor, but talent isn't the sole thing. I mean, when I say talent, I probably would say more so just playmaking ability, explosiveness. I think that that's a very important factor for how I vote and how I think. And really, I would just say, toughness, man. Like, you go out and you see certain teams, and, I see a lot of off-putting things, whether that's coming from coaches to players, or just players to coaches, or players to players, where, it's just soft. And you can't have a certain brand of football and expect to put a certain outcome out there if you're not gonna, be all around rounded well as a team. And toughness is included in that.
And then Leon, what would you say goes into you picking your top 25?
I mean, the first thing that I really just want to say, and I think this kind of goes for all of us, is that, this isn't something that we make as a quick decision. Not one bit. I mean, I think, honestly, me and Tyler probably talk back and forth more on Sundays when we're trying to figure out what we're doing with our top 25s than really any other time during the week. Just because, pregame shows, covering the games, that's just stuff that we can do. But the number one thing for me, honestly, is it's kind of simple, but I think it rings, very true. Our team's doing what they're supposed to do week in and week out. Obviously, from a media standpoint, you look at every single team as, potentially equal. But, you start getting into, like this week 3, week 4, week 5, where we're at right now, and you kind of start to understand who's pulling ahead and who's not. So from there, I really just try to look at, are you beating teams the way that you should be? And if you're not, why? Because, if there's a perfectly logical reason, like say, lost a couple of key guys for that week or something like that, so you don't put up exactly the performance you're looking to, but you still pull it out, that shows kind of that toughness that, Dylan was just talking about, and, being able to win in more than one way. But I think ultimately, the biggest test is, are you going out there and doing what you're supposed to do?
No, I absolutely get that. And I think you touched on a couple key points there. Matt, what goes into your top 25, man?
I think that Dylan and Leon really nailed it. Who's going out every week and handling your business. You're beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, but you're also flexible enough to come out on top against the teams that are going to be tougher. It can't be a close game against a team that you're supposed to beat, handedly. So that's what I'm always looking for. Teams that are handling their business, and the teams that are flexible enough to get it done against systems that, they might not see too often, or, teams they might not see too often. I know a lot of those guys from down the southern tier coming in Buffalo, you don't get a chance to see them too often, but you should be able to handle that no matter what, even with, limited film or injuries or whatever's keeping you down. The teams that find a way to win no matter the circumstances, those are the ones that I'm looking into putting up high in my ranking.
And yeah, I think everybody here would agree with you on that point. And then Coach Benkhe, what goes into your top 25? You've been a guest picker for us. What goes into it?
It's kind of the same sentiment as everybody else. I think, the biggest thing to me is strength of schedule and how they handle it. I know week 1, there was a handful of teams locally here in Western New York that went out of state to play. And, it wasn't the best showing on our behalf, but they went and played, a really tough opponent. So it's not fair to, kind of knock them and think they're not a really good team because they went out and played a team full of D1 guys. So then you got some local guys playing each other, and you kind of just weigh all that in, and then you kind of, come up with a consensus. But that's kind of the way I look at it.
And no, you're absolutely right. I mean, strength of schedule is important. It's important for me, and as you've heard from everybody else, it's important to them as well. But the big thing is, you could schedule the biggest, baddest opponent, but you got to win, guys. That's what it really comes down to. You want the number one spot? Just win. You don't get the number one spot this week? Just keep winning. We're going to have to recognize you guys eventually. And I think that's what really goes over your head. And another thing that plays really big to me is, are you dominating your division? You know, if you're C North, are you 3, 4, 5-0 this time of year? If you're A1, are you beating the teams at the bottom of your division handily? You know, in AA, we're about to see one of the best matchups all season in Bennett and Lancaster. So whichever way that one goes, both teams are going to benefit, whether it's a small drop or a big upside with the win. So just remember that when you see that top 25, guys. There's no hatred or bias from any of us up here. You heard all our points. You know, just win, beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and win the games that maybe we don't expect you to win.
Yeah, and Tyler is right that wins is a big thing, because not everybody's going to have that strength of schedule, because it's just the nature of your division. You're playing in C, D. You're not going to be playing the same level of opponents that like a Bennett or something like that. So I look at a team like a lot of us here are going to know our Newfane Panthers. They're not just going out and playing close games against closer opponents and talent level. They're going out there and they're beating teams that a lot of us, even as former players of that team, probably wouldn't have predicted they were going to win this year. They went out there and shocked Medina. That's a team that I didn't expect them to get as, pretty impactful as a victory. But, now I think they're rolling in, 4-0 now?
Yeah, the Newfane Panthers, not to go on a tirade about our old school, we'll keep this one short, but they're 4-0 after a crazy overtime victory against the Akron Tigers, won it by literal inches. 2-point conversion, they stopped in overtime at home for their homecoming. It's absolutely crazy. So shout out to them. And then, so please, guys, remember, top 25 is all about winning and who you play.
I'm kind of going to put these boys on the spot right now.
Go for it.
Top 5, go ahead.
Top 5?
Yeah.
I got to list us on there.
But let me, no. I'm talking about in high school.
Oh, high school?
Yeah, but this is what I'm gonna give y'all though. Can't put yourselves in there. I'm sure y'all both in y'all top 5s.
So. Oh, as players.
Yeah, give me your top 5 players. We gonna make it hot. I ain't gonna lie. So
all right. This not in order though.
All right, bet.
So I gotta put my boys on there. I got Elijah, Jaden, Jack, E. Ryan, and my little cousin Mir, number 8 from Canisius. That's my top 5.
Okay.
What about you, Daquon? Top 5 players in Western New York?
I say Elijah Campbell, Tyrone Clark, Mari Yancey, Nair Patterson, and E. Ryan.
Dylan, let's put you on the spot, man. Top 5 players in Western New York. You don't get to ask a question like that and duck
Not
it.
answer it. Yeah.
Dang. How about I ask you? I got it. Let me go. This is tough, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Why did you ask the kids that?
I like to see. You know what I mean? It's different what peers think amongst each other. I think that my view, is a little distorted just because I've played college. I'm freshman playing college, so I kind of look at it as like whose game do I see projecting to the next level in a sense right now. Just because like when I watch high school football, like I'm seeing like, okay, like how does he drop? Like, you know what I mean? If a kid plays safety, I'm looking at, does he feel the alley hard? Does the small things that like are going to go into a coach's evaluation. But I'm just talking about playmakers, man. Like top 5 this year to me that have just been like, oh, like that's must see high school football. I'm gonna start with my boy Mari right here, like for sure. Like, dude, you dynamic. So I think that players like that, you get players drawn up for you in college. They're gonna find a way to get you the ball, even if it's 3-4 plays a game. Them 3-4 plays, them coaches put a lot of hours in to make it for you. So players like that, you know what I mean? Another one, Jack Eskridge. If you seen him play, then I don't really gotta say nothing else. If you ain't seen him play, go see 0 from Bennett and number 7 from Bennett too. E. Ryan Lawrence.
You got 2 more.
Yeah,
2 more.
Eli. Sure. Got you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Eli. That fifth one is hard, man. I mean, I'm a Bryce Tubin fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Me and you both.
Yeah, I'm a
Me
Bryce.
and you
I'm a
both.
Bryce
I can
Tubin
sit here and
fan.
talk for hours about Bryce Tubin.
Yeah,
Let's not do that. Leon, top
Good
5
thing we
players
don't
in
have
Western New York.
ours.
gotta have a quarterback in there.
I think we're all gonna kind of agree on a clean sweep with Ryan Lawrence.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely in the top
Absolutely.
5 there. I've also found myself being a big Bryce Tubin fan, over the past couple of years as well. Kid can just sling the rock to pretty much anybody. I haven't seen Jack out of Bennett play yet, but I'm hoping that when I do next week, I'm going to be on that wave. God, I got to give it to my man Sam Ikaguanu.
So, yeah.
I
Big
mean,
Sammy.
I got to give it to one of my big boys. I mean, that kid's just an absolute force no matter what he does. I mean, he's putting up almost double-digit tackles a game no matter who he's playing up against. And, I mean, we're making that road trip next week to go see them go up against CSP.
Yeah, this Saturday. That's
So
going to be a
I'm
hell
going
of
to
a
be
football
excited
game.
to see him in action.
You got 2 more.
God, I got 2 more. This does get hard once you get past those first 3.
Take your time.
Now that I know about Damari, I am going to put him on there as well. I mean, you were just electric, kid. I mean, your game speed is absolutely insane to me.
Last one. Who is it?
Last one. Who's the last one in? Who's the last one making the cut? No pressure. God. I'm with you on this. This is where it gets hard. That last guy. Pretty much. You know what? A lot of people are going to say that, this kid really only had one big game. That's why anybody talks about him. But I've watched other film. I've seen him one other time. And I would say for his size at running back, for what he's up against with that, Adam Nunez is the real deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how I forgot my boy Bam. Tripping. I forgot Bam and I forgot Noah also. But like those are 2 guys. That's why I feel like I didn't say Eli also at first. Cause I feel like everybody's obvious, but I feel like Bam, just what he did this year is like you can't not have him in the top 5.
Right. And sometimes there's so much talent here in Western New York it's almost getting to the point where you could overlook guys. And before the podcast started here, I was talking to Damari, and I had to be honest with them. I've never heard of him before the game against Grand Island, but it's a name I'll never forget now. So sometimes all it takes is one play, one game, and you'll never forget these kids. And Matt, we're going to put you on the spot now. Top 5 players in Western New York.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys thought it was hard for you, I mean, you're talking to the media guy now, the one behind the camera often. So that is why I'm not going to give you my top 5, but I am going to include a player that as a coach, I had a chance to experience him at a younger age, and then I thought he was going to be a great success, and he's doing that right now. Jeremiah Guerrero over at St. Joe's, I think 5 solo tackles last week against Canisius.
Over 10 combined, I know that much.
Over 10 combined tackles. That man, he is putting up numbers. I was impressed from him from the start, and it's good to see him continue that success forward. Whether he's a top 5 player in Western New York or not, he's in my conversation. People got to keep an eye on him, and so I'm not going to give you my top 5 because again, media guy, but you get it.
The guy behind the camera, you're at every game. You got to have some thoughts, but we'll move on here to Coach Benkhe. Top 5 players in Western New York. Who you got?
I'm just gonna go with top 5 receivers because that's my forte.
Okay, I like that.
think
I
it's
like
There you
that.
go, Coach.
I'm not going to do in any specific order. You guys have touched on most of them. I mean, Ryan Lawrence, Bennett High School, Jaden Clark, Canisius, Jack Eskridge, Bennett High School, Damari, Sweet Home, and then a 5th one that nobody's talked about, but you'll know by the end of the year, Damone Allen, St. Francis.
I'm so glad you said that. I was so glad you said that.
See how hard this is?
Yeah.
So, that's why I wanted to do receiver specific because you can get caught up in the main guys and respectfully so they've all earned their right to be a top player in this area. But I think there's a lot of guys too that are just right there. And Damone Allen, he's a class of 26 guy. So like he's doing what he's doing this year and last year, but next year I'm telling you he's next up in the city.
All right, a name to watch out for in Damone Allen.
That's tough.
And then I'll take it on top 5. Number 1's Eli Kimball. I mean, it speaks for itself. Go to Huddle, look up his film. There's not much that needs to be said on that. And then, I got E. Ryan Lawrence. He's so dynamic. I know Coach Benkhe said he's a wide receiver, but you put him in the backfield, he could be a running back. Hell, you could put him at quarterback and he'd figure that out. The kid is just so talented.
He plays quarterback sometimes. I'm not even kidding.
And I'm not surprised, to be honest with you.
Don't tell him all that yet, man. We spoiling the sauce.
No. When you see, and I don't mean to interrupt, but he's the type of kid that, and I think Dylan could speak to this. When you talk to a college coach about a kid, you just put ATH next to him, and he can play it all. He plays DB, safety, punt return, kick return, shoot. He'll get your groceries and bring them in the house for you.
And I believe it. I've seen E. Ryan play a handful of times, and it never seems to disappoint. So E. Ryan was 2, 3. Like I said with Dylan and Leon there. I'm a huge Bryce Tubin guy. I've been a huge Bryce Tubin guy since the first time I seen him throw football. The kid's electric. He could put the ball anywhere, and he could run the football. Don't be confused as 6'2", 215, 220. He can run the rock as well, and it's very impressive. At number 4, here's a name that a lot of people probably didn't expect. I got Bryce Hinsdale from CSP. He is closing in on that state reception record. He's 33 off, and we get to see him on Saturday, and I'm pumped. I know he won't break the record bubble there, but I'm sure we'll see it come playoff time. And then number 5 jumped up my list, young man, Damari Yancey. Like I said, absolutely electric, track speed on the football field. He is a nightmare for opposing defenses and special teams.
Man, he came here for a podcast and he got a fan club.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yo, Murray, have you got a Conley Cup nomination yet?
Nah, that's crazy.
I think the Conley Cup is gonna come see you soon. I can't speak for them, but I know that they find good football players. That's one. I believe that's the most prestigious award in Western New York. So I think that what you've been doing lately, bro, you're gonna just keep going. You're gonna make yourself a finalist for that. But you can't. What you're doing week to week will never be ignored. They gonna come see you later. I saw some on Instagram about that, so I just wanted to say, like that's coming for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on something that Coach Lee mentioned is just versatility being such an important thing for players, especially at this level. You never know what school you're going to end up at. You never know who's going to be watching, what they're going to be needing on their team when they are watching. Be willing to be versatile. Be willing to change up what you do position-wise, or, you don't have to be, a generalist or an ace of all spades or whatever. Just be open and willing to try new things at the next level. That's what a lot of coaches are looking for. Go out there. Don't just focus on football. Try out, things like basketball, track, develop yourself like that. And I think, we'll start seeing a lot more versatile athletes like what Coach Lee was talking about.
And actually, to speak on to your point with that, another number one thing that a college will ask me is, does he do track? Is the first thing he asks, does he do track? Because then he could get verified numbers and see what your actual speed is before you get to a camp, so they could kind of get a gauge on that. So, when somebody doesn't do a spring sport or winter sport or whenever track happens, I always empower the guys, do track. I know it's running. It's not the funnest thing in the world, but it's going to help you in your recruitment. And to get those numbers out there, on wax like that, it's huge. And it's between grades and do they do track are the two first things they ask.
And on top of it, guys, it's a free speed workout. Don't go pay for a speed workout. Go run track. Go hang out with your track coach. It's well worth it. As someone who played wide receiver and ran track in the spring, helped me immensely. Took me from a 5.3 40 to a 4.7 40 in 3 years. So it definitely does help out. And then Dylan, you had an announcement about Legends in the Making. If you'd like to make that about the 7-on-17.
Yeah. If you a baller, that's why I started smiling when you said Damona Jr. I'm like, ooh.
I actually misspoke because I just checked. He's at 25.
That's what I thought. So I looked. I'm like, we gonna need him.
His heart. Just broke his heart.
That kid
broke Western New York's heart. We thought we had one more year.
For some reason I thought he was, but I'm telling you, if you get a chance to go watch a St. Francis game this year, and you watch him play football, he's a kid that I think needs to be put out there in the spotlight more, because he's been doing this. And I thought he was 26 because I've just been watching him play since he's a freshman, and I feel like he had another year, but he's just been balling. He's number 0 for St. Francis. Go check out Damona.
Yeah, no, most def. But pretty much, man, we are going to have our first 7-on-7 tryout coming very soon. It will be around November. We have a date, but you guys aren't getting it yet. but it will be around November, probably somewhere in between. You know, right around the middle. So keep your calendars open. But yeah, man, if you are a baller and you're looking for, you know, a 7-on-7 team that's gonna go compete nationally, go to places like Michigan, Georgia, Florida. Come rock out with LITM. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be competitive. So tryouts are real tryouts. There's not guys that are slotted on the team already, even though people may think that, because we can only take 20 people on, you know, these trips. And, you know, I don't know if we should get too much into this yet, Coach Lee, but hopefully, you know, we're planning on doing some things where we could take guys to some schools as well. And, you know, that's something that, you know, I'm pretty sure Buffalo, Western New York, we need to get a little more of a push on that. We need more support with the people that, you know, want our student athletes to succeed. So that's really about it.
And then one note from Western New York Football Report, we have this upcoming week 5, we have what we're calling Super Week in-house. We have arguably 3 of the best games on schedule. Kicking off Thursday with Health Sciences taking the trip out to Clarence. That game kicks off at 7 o'clock. Friday night, we'll be at Lancaster High School watching them host the Bennett Tigers. That'll be our bigger pregame show. We'll have Dylan McDuffie on. We had him on for the Joe's game along with Dom Cook Sr., and it was a blast, man. Tune in. It's always a good time just hearing some guys talk about football. And then we wrap it up Saturday watching the Lackawanna Steelers take the long road trip down the Clymer Sherman Panama to take on the Wolfpack. Arguably one of the best weeks of football. Leon and Matt, since that's our schedule, you guys want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, I'll touch on it real quick, but then I'm going to be kind of selfish. As a former Joe's coach, we're going to talk about Joe's Canisius, whether you guys want to or not.
I mean, we went there. We might as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest game I'm looking forward to this week is that CSB Lackawanna game. I mean, you've had people in the comments talking stuff about Lackawanna every single week. Like, oh, it's crazy you guys got them at 1. Why you got them at 1? I've had them at 1 since, I think, week 1. Yeah, I think they deserve to be there. Some people don't. I think we're about to find out against a tough CSB team why they're up there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I know it's a long drive, but I think we'll do just fine getting down there. I think Lackawanna's going to do just fine down there as well.
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 different teams, actually, between CSP and Lackawanna that are really, you know, on top of that top 25 constantly, and a lot of people seem to want to know why. I think putting them up against each other and, you know, an interdivision matchup between, let's see, Lackawanna is B.
It's a BD matchup. Lackawanna
matchup.
Steelers are class B3, and the CSP Wolfpack is just class D.
Yeah, so I mean, people are going to see CSP against that higher level of competition that they've been looking for since we had them up that high in the top 25. You know, Lackawanna is going to have a chance against a ranked opponent to prove that number 1 ranking. And I mean, I think I've had Lackawanna ranked 1 since week 2. But yeah, I mean, they're 2 teams that we saw a lot of last year. You know, 2 teams that returned a lot of talent, 2 teams that we know are legitimate. And I just can't wait to watch iron sharpen iron. And that being said, I'm going to say the same exact thing for that Bennett game on Friday. You know, though that matchup is marquee for sure. That's top 5 matchup.
That might be a top 3 matchup.
Yeah, by the time we're all said and done this week, might be top 3.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will find out Tuesday if it's a top 5, top 3, whatever. But, I mean, it is a top matchup. It is the best talent in the section. It's going to be crazy. I mean, you got E. Ryan Lawrence, Gerard Freeman, Jack Eskridge, Alex Krupa, John Gang, Blake Misterman, Andrew Moberg. I could go on and on. There's great talent on both sides of the football, and I'm excited. But if anybody's curious as to why Lackawanna has been number 1 for the 3 of us for a majority of the year, they have 3 guys that I think can compete in any class, any section, any state, really. That's Sam Ikegwanu at the defensive line spot. He will swallow your running back, swallow your quarterback, and he will do it for 48 minutes. You have...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pause. Y'all knew what I meant. Y'all knew what I meant.
Yeah.
Y'all knew what I meant. Calm down.
Moving on.
They also have Amir Douglas, who continues to do crazy things every week. Every time he sends me in a top 10 play request, he sends me some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. I mean, he's an absolute football player. He's one of those athletes Coach Benkhe was talking about. And then sophomore Tyrone Clark Jr., The kid is an absolute stud at the running back position. And I know Damari touched on him earlier when we asked these guys their top 5 players. Or I think it was you, Daquon.
Yeah.
It was you, Daquon, who said he was top 5. And he plays like it. 1,500 yards as a freshman last year, and he's already approaching 1,000 this year in 4 weeks.
They got LaFaro too.
Oh, yeah. LaFreld Hines. Make that 4 players. Make that 4 players.
And LaShawn Braxton Jr.
And Kurt.
Yeah, that's another one.
They got
Again,
some
we
boys.
can keep
Lackawanna
naming
got
list-
boys.
They got a roster, guys. They got a roster.
And I'd like to say, so every week that I've been having the opportunity to put out a top 5, I always get an inbox from Tyrone Clark. How come we're not in your top 5? You're in it this week. You guys are in. You did your thing. I get it. I get it. You guys are putting up 60 points plus a game, and I'm super interested to see how you guys handle business this week.
This might not age well. It better age well, but the Tigers giving that belt this week. No, we can't post this until the game is over with, though.
Oh, no.
I got some bad news, man.
All right.
That's,
Well, you know what? I trust. You know what? I trust my little bros, man. They gonna get it done. Lancaster's a great team, though. All jokes aside, you know it's not gonna be no belt, but it's gonna be. They're gonna put them claws on them or something. I don't know what to say. I ain't gonna say the belt, but
it's going to be the game of the year.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, we got to see what playoffs gives us, but Bennett Lancaster might be the game of the regular season.
Kai, I got a question for everybody on here real quick. I know we kind of getting towards the end of time after this. Well, 2 questions. This is the first one. If you could have a hypothetical matchup out of all the Western New York teams, private, public, AA versus D, whatever, what is it? Let's start with the young boys though.
I want Orchard Park again. Orchard Park.
Okay.
I want you guys to get Orchard Park again because I had you winning that game.
Word. I
You
think
know how
so
many
too.
people I inbox before the season even started? I said, "Watch Sweet Home win this. Watch Sweet Home."
They should've.
Crossbar, because he's an Orchard Park alumni. I was picking up some stuff,
Word.
and I was telling him, I'm like, "Yo, bro, I'm telling you, Sweet Home's got him." I said, "They got Damari." I'm saying, "Watch this." He showed out.
Yeah.
Best potential matchup, Damari. Who you got?
I want South Park.
You want to play South Park? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
feel
just-
like that'd be a hell of a game.
God.
I feel like they just talk too much, and I just want to quiet them. They think, in my opinion, I feel like I don't know. I just think we could beat them. I think they can't mess with our offense.
Okay. Hey, I love confidence, man. I love confidence. There's a difference between that and being cocky. Coach Benkhe, hypothetical matchup. Who you picking?
I think you're getting the actual best matchup this Friday. I think Lancaster and Bennett are that. But if I could create a schedule and make something happen that I think would be great for the town, it would be Bennett versus St. Francis.
Okay.
Friday night in Athol Springs. I'm telling you, that would do numbers.
Man, you
Definitely do
Saturday
numbers.
night,
Coach,
actually. Going back to the Franny days, you know, Coach Smith like them Saturday night games. Only people in town.
That's true. A night game down there between Bennett and St. Francis, that would be huge.
That environment will be off the wall for a Saturday nighter.
That would be comparable to Joe's Canisius because that environment was nuts.
Never seen anything like that before.
Franny's gets rowdy.
We'll get there.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
We'll
I was on the other end of it a couple of years. They say some stuff, and I mean, Mari was part of it too.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
man,
crazy.
You can't do nothing but respect it though. Like they come out for their school, and it's cool for Western New York.
I guess my hypothetical matchup, and just because I'm so high on them as a football team, I really love the Lackawanna Steelers. I have no affiliation to them. I just think they have some of the best players on the football field in Western New York. And with that being said, I'd like to see them take on a Bennett. I know y'all scrimmaged earlier this summer.
What you do?
They get cooked.
I don't think so. I really don't believe. I believe it'd be a close football game. I don't know
It'll
if
be
the
a good
Steelers will
game.
pull it out.
I'll give that'd be like a 34-20 type game.
Right. It wouldn't be no belt to ass game. It would be a good football game.
Lackawanna legit. They got boys, man. Lackawanna got D1 players on their team. So I mean,
For sure.
And they got speed. You know, speed neutralizes everything.
The thing that I would attest that to or really bring to light is, and this is what to me is going to be the difference on Friday, is who's going to stop Ryan Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he could do whatever he wants on that football field, and I've seen it. I coached against him when he was at St. Francis as a freshman and a sophomore, and it was like, damn, what are we going to do to stop that? And now to see him come into his own as a senior, and then, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen anybody stop him, so.
He's unstoppable. Not yet, but he's gonna be.
Matt, hypothetical Section 6 Monsignor Martin, Western New York matchup. Who are you picking?
Man, I don't want to keep piggybacking off of Coach Lee here, but that St. Francis Bennett matchup would be a game. I got St. Francis at the top of my Monsignor Martin ranking at least, and man, those two teams going at it would be a sight to see at either site, home or away. I mean, that game would be a slugfest here and there. I mean, you got such talent on both sides. I think it would be a great game.
Leon, matchup in Western New York high school football. Who are you picking?
God, out of the 70-something teams, you're really going to make me pick two.
Pick the best matchup. The one Leon Thompson would pay money for.
Well, I got two things that put me against the rest of you. I'm a defensive guy, and I'm a big boy guy. So I got two things kind of going against you guys and what you guys are trying to put out. We've talked about several players on that Lackawanna defensive line, and that's right up my alley. I mean, that is just a defense that I want to see more than anything, and I can't wait to finally do it this weekend. But you know what? I'm kind of on that wavelength of putting them against one of those all-powerful offenses just to see what they can actually do. So that's in the realm of we're talking, your Bennetts, your Lancasters, Honestly, just to say something a little bit different, I would want to put Lackawanna against Lancaster.
I like that.
Game. That'd be a good game.
Yeah, I like
That's a
that.
trench game.
Yeah, that's a big trench game between the two teams. Offensively, Lancaster's got the big boys. Defensively, Lackawanna's got the big boys. I think that's a game that is won and lost right there on the line of scrimmage.
That's a Big Ten matchup if I've ever seen one.
That
is a Big Ten matchup.
Dylan, how about you? Hypothetical Western New York high school football matchup. Who are you taking?
Well, touching on what Leon said real quick, let's give a quick shout out. Owen Haffa, that guy from Lancaster, that lineman, dog.
Mm-hmm.
He one of them crazy ones. That's probably the lineman I like. Those are the linemen I love to play with because he's one of those ones. We went to the first game against McQuaid. He coming off the sideline, screaming, bumping his head on his helmet, juicing everybody up. I'm like, oh yeah, he's him right there.
Those crazy dudes are gonna find someone to hit.
Oh, for
just
sure.
No matter what.
Just laying on top of people. I just know he talking crazy during the game. I know he is. I know he's a crap talker. My bad. But
we ought to get him mic'd up then. That'd be cool to see.
We should.
Ooh, we should get some players.
I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask him next week, not this week. But anyway, my top matchup. It's gonna sound so basic, but I want to see Canisius and Bennett just cause, man, E. Ryan versus Jaden, Noah versus Eli in the box. I mean, Bennett got guys too. Both of those teams have a lot of underrated guys. Just cause they have stars, easiest way to say games like that are won by the not supporting cast, but the guys that everybody doesn't talk
X
about.
factors.
You know what I mean? I think that seeing a matchup of Canisius and Bennett, everybody's gonna be, looking for the E. Ryan versus Jaden or the Eli versus Noah of the game. But Bennett has, and Jack too, my bad. But Bennett has Shamir, they got Jimmy, they got Jordan Freeman. Canisius got what's his name, Mir?
Yeah,
they got Mir. I was, that Joe was giving him man, that 1-2 combo, Eli and Mir, that's deadly. I think that he's very underrated. People don't really talk about him a lot because obviously got 0, but 8 pretty nice too.
Amir's tough. If you go back to, I'm close, his dad, Amir's dad and whatnot. If you go back to Amir's Duck days when he played for the Ducks and look at his highlights, crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, I would say Canisius Bennett would be a good one.
No, absolutely. That's not basic. That's just good football.
Word.
And then I think the last question to wrap everything up here is, what is everyone's why? Why do you play? I guess for the two young bucks to my left, why do you guys play high school football? Why do you want to play at the next level? And then for the rest of us who are somewhat involved in the game, whether it's reporting, coaching, I don't really know. What would you say Legends in the Making is? Because it's not really reporting, but you guys are doing stuff for the community. How would you describe it?
We're the culture. We're the voice.
All right, so between the culture of Western New York football, the reporters, and one of the coaches, what is your guys' why? Starting with Daquon.
I was playing football since I was young, and I just love the game. When I'm playing the game, I just feel happy.
What about you, Damari?
Ever since I was a kid, my family called me, you know, you're going to be the one that's going to go somewhere far. And I feel like I want to do that. I want to make my family comfortable. That's my why.
Okay. What about you, Coach Benkhe?
Just seeing kids progress through the years and just finally get that opportunity to play at the next level. And it's funny that Damari's even here because I got a text from him over the summer after he got an offer. And just randomly out of the blue, he's like, Coach, I finally got an offer. I want to thank you for everything, you know, to help me with as a receiver. And that's literally my why.
And I fully agree with that. I had a Maryvale quarterback, Jackson Moritz. He shot me a DM this year on Instagram, and he said, "You guys are the reason I want to play college football. You make Western New York football fun again." And that's the whole reason we started Western New York Football Report. We wanted to give these kids something not only to help them, you know, get to where they want to go, whether that's the next level or just noticed by their teammates, classmates, family, whatever the case may be. But we really just wanted them to have fun playing football, make it feel like it mattered, because a lot of these kids, it's a sad reality, but they won't go play at the next level. So we're trying to give them something to hold on to and make it fun while they have it. What about you, Matt? Your why?
You know, as a former coach too, that, you know, really rang true with me of, you know, wanting to give these kids an experience they're always going to remember. I always want them to remember me as a coach that helped them out along their journey. I think it's a mission at, you know, when I was either coaching at Joe's or helping out at other schools, that, you know, we're not just building football players, we're building men. We're building, you know, somebody who's going to contribute to, you know, their family, to their community, to society. So seeing, you know, that football can give people that platform, I think that's my why. You know, giving kids a platform to be the best thing they can be for their community and for their families.
Leon, what is your why?
I've got a couple of different whys, but just to keep it kind of simple, I mean, we all know what we have here in Western New York, you know, as football players, as coaches, you know, being able to, you know, report on it and watch it and, you know, hype it up and everything. We all know what we have here because we're here. I mean, we see it out there, you know, it's everywhere. You know, football is kind of a wildfire once it comes around here. And there's a lot of talent across, like I said, all of these like 70 teams, and they're on every single team. I mean, these two guys here all the way down to, you know, a place like CSP, you know, Cattaraugus, Little Valley, and all the way up north to, you know, like your Newfanes and Medinas and Akrons. You know, you go north to south in this section, in Section 6, and it's just out there. You leave Section 6 and nobody knows. Almost nobody knows. Like, you might get like some guys from the Rochester area that go, yeah, you know, we saw some Western New York teams in the playoffs and things like that, and they got talent, but it's a very close-knit group that not a lot of people know about. And I honestly think that's a shame, because it's a great culture. You know, you get the chance to meet so many great kids, you know, both on and off the field. And, you know, I just think that there's some recognition that needs to be given with that. You know, you guys go out there and work just as hard as everybody else. You know, depending on who you are, you might work even harder. You know, and to come home at the end of all of that and just to go, man, I don't even know if anybody other than who was there knew about that. I don't think that's right. So that's really the major one. But honestly, I think the number one thing, and it's kind of what Matt touched on, is, you know, we see these coaching staffs and we see these schools that really do a great job of building a culture and turning the kids that they're coaching into better men. And that kind of means a lot to me, just because I was one of those kids that played in the sport that honestly needed that. You know, I needed to become better than what I was. And a lot of my coaches, you know, Nagel, Vosberg, I'm going to say especially Coach Baker, just because of how close I was with him and, you know, his kids and everything. You know, it's really important for kids that wouldn't have an opportunity otherwise to go out there and just find a way to become a better person. And just to shed any sort of light on that, just any sort of coaching staff or any kid that is going through that effort, that's going through that hard work and watching it pay off, that's why I'm here. I want those kids to know that they're recognized, that someone's watching them, that someone sees what they've done, and that they appreciate it, and that they hope they continue to do it going forward. And if we happen to give enough exposure to a kid to maybe make a college think twice, I mean, that'd be pretty cool for me too. And I know it'd be cool for all those guys out there too.
And then we'll wrap it up with Dylan, man. What's your why?
I'm gonna give two. I'm gonna give my personal one for like, you know, my playing career, and I'm gonna give Legends in the Making. But first, man, I just want to like say thank you to all you guys also too, because like, you know, today I feel like what we did has been very impactful. You know, we gave a lot of games to these young guys, and I think that, you know, what you guys do at Western New York Football Report, you know, you guys young and, you know, bringing a new energy to the area that, you know, we're trying to spread the culture and make people more aware. So I think that you guys like really top notch when it comes to how you find the teams, how you scout the players that you go see and everything. So I want to give you guys a quick shout out. But my personal why when I play is, man, just because like I feel like I don't know, it's gonna sound kind of whatever, but I'm just a dog, bro. And I don't like saying that or whatever, because I mean it just shows when, you know, your actions reflect who you are. But I'm not gonna put anything into something and not put my all into it. So I think that when I step on the field, man, like one, it's always just a pride thing, man. I'm wearing my family's name on my back, and I'm, you know, everybody that's believed in me, you know, not going hard is disrespectful to them, you know. And I just want to say, like, everybody that, you know, believes in you and pushes you, by not doing your best, you're literally disrespecting them deliberately, you know. So it's not easy for everybody to support you. People come out their pocket to support you. People, you know what I mean, come out their time to support, you know, you and your career. Because, I mean, I'm sure we all started getting driven to practice or something like that.
Absolutely.
So I think that, you know, at the end of the day, like, people have, and my parents, you know, have really invested into my career, and my family's really invested into my career, whether that's training me, taking me hours on, you know, trips to go on camps. My dad staying up 15 hours for us to drive to NC State for me to not get an offer. You know what I mean? And him to turn around right back like he ain't care. For them to tell him, nah, he should have ran a little faster, or he not tall enough or something like that, you know? So, man, we on to the next school. And that's really why Legends in the Making is, you know, that's my why for that, because not everybody has that. And I know I've been fortunate enough to, you know, my recruiting process kind of took care of itself. I mean, had a great support system, and I know not everybody has that. And that's what we want to be for you guys. I mean, I think that we can tell that we really care. You know, I mean, we're not just people putting lists out to put lists out. We come in, we see you guys play, we talk to you guys outside of football. You know, we do stuff with you guys outside of football. And I think that that's the biggest impact that we can have, really, is just trying to make you guys better. Because at the end of the day, it's football. It has to end one day. And the stuff that we're doing with LITM, we're really just trying to prepare you guys for life, you know, and we can help you get some scholarships along the way. That's our goal. So really just that. But going into that, man, I always want to challenge all you athletes, bro. I mean, yes, we slept on, but you got to stop sleeping on yourself first, man. Like, if y'all want things to change, you got to be the one to change it. You can't just sit up here and post about being slept on, man. You got to get extra work in. You gotta outwork the guys in Texas. You gotta outwork the guys in Georgia. You gotta outwork them guys in Florida. Because at the end of the day, coaches are going there anyway. They on their way out there because they got a million kids to look at. So if you want them to change their recruitment route, their detour to come see you, do something about it. And that's in the off season. That's in the way you eat. That's in the way you think. That's in the way you go about your business every day. It don't just happen on Friday night.
No, absolutely. And you touched on a big point there. You know, don't worry about other states, guys. You were from Western New York. Wear it loud and proud. You just saw what happened with Joseph Andreessen from Lancaster to Bryant College to UB, and now he's playing for the hometown Bills. It could be you guys just like it was him, and it could be any of the other ones who came from Western New York. Dylan's cousin, Isaiah McDuffie, I remember playing him in high school. Man, it was a long day for the New Fame Panthers.
I was going to say, I don't think you'd ever forget that one.
No, I still remember his stat line from that game. I never forgot his name after that day.
I don't remember the stat line because I had to try to tackle him.
Thank God I didn't play defense. I was just a wide receiver. But I mean, 25 tackles on defense. I think he had 275 on the ground with about 5 touchdowns by the third quarter.
He did something. He did something to pull people.
That's an all right day, man. Don't juice him up too much.
Seeing it firsthand was something else, man. That was like, you gotta understand, we're coming from up north. We see Medina and Wilson. When we saw that, we were like, whoa.
Bro, yeah, Zay in high school is so funny because, like, it's my cousin. So, he's a starting linebacker for Green Bay Packers. So, me talking crap don't mean nothing. But him in high school, like, it was so funny. The way he ran, like, literally just, and just people just bouncing off him. Like, he's not even trying to run anybody over. It's just happening.
Yeah, he was a special kind of athlete. And that's, you know, you guys can be that. You know, Damari and Daquon sitting next to us here, they could be that as well. You guys just really got to put the work in. really, take care of your business on and off the field. Do good in the classroom. Just be a genuine, decent person, because colleges will take that over the kid with a 4.4 speed and bad grades. They will take the decent individual every time.
Yeah, I mean, I say the same 3 things before every single interview with a kid. I haven't interviewed you guys, so you don't know them. You know them. It's the same 3 things every time. No bulletin board material. Don't give the other team any crap that they're going to use against you if it doesn't go your way. Don't do anything that you wouldn't want your parents to see. Just be respectful. And the number 1 rule of that is really just be yourselves. And I didn't realize until recently when we started talking to a lot of these, college guys or a lot of these coaches, that that's beyond interview advice. That's just solid life advice in general.
Well, right. We heard Dom Cook Sr. on our pregame show talk about it. He's another Buffalo native, went to UB, ended up in the league for a little bit. And he said it the same way. Be yourself. Be you. Don't let anyone else control your journey. You're in control of it. Take care of it for yourself.
And speaking of Dom Cook Jr., I told you we were going to come back to this. We're going to talk about Canisius Joes. I'm going to force you guys to do it.
All right.
Now, you guys were at the game yesterday, or on Saturday, I mean.
Yes.
God, tell us a little bit about that atmosphere. That is a crazy atmosphere for anybody to go into, let alone a high school football team.
I've never seen
in
it
Western
before.
New York.
I have never seen it before in the confines of high school. I mean, obviously, we got the Buffalo Bills professionally, so everyone that goes to those games is always going to go hard. That is the closest thing at the high school level that I have seen to something like that. I mean, from both sides. I mean, I know those schools aren't too far apart. It's a big rivalry for a reason. But honestly, just to see those student sections come together and just have the camaraderie that they all had. And they just, honestly, to a certain point, I mean, obviously, if you go to that school, you care if you win or not. But I just think that they had more fun out there than anybody. The people playing it, the people coaching it, those kids in those student sections just have the most fun. And it was awesome to see something like that. I'd love to see stuff like that at more schools. Just go hard for representing who, your school. Who you are. It's something to be proud of, and it's something that you're going to find yourself being proud of once you become an adult, whether you play or not. And I just think it's something that would be really cool to see out there more often. But to see it for the first time, it was kind of life-changing, to be honest with you.
That was eye-opening. That made that game so much more fun to pay attention to. I mean, every big play, everything that happened on the field, the student section got involved. Whether it was Joe's or Canisius, at the end of the game, Canisius won, and Canisius student section is rushing the field like, they just knocked off a top 10 ranked team like it's college football. That place is insane. Whether it's Joe's or Canisius, that was just an incredible atmosphere, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, and my takeaway from the game was the score. You got the last 2 years, you're getting Joe's, they're getting 60 hung on them by Canisius. Canisius is a great football team. Canisius will continue to be a great football team. Me personally, having the chance to have coached with, Coach Mike Corona over there at Joe's, seeing the development over the last few years in that program and, what he's creating there and what those boys have been doing, I wasn't surprised at all that the game was as close as it was, that Joe's came into the fourth quarter up. I mean, it's like Leon said to me a few days ago, you can't keep number 0 under wraps for 4 quarters. He's bound to break one off on you, and he just happened, I believe, get the game winner, correct?
He broke off 3. He broke off of all of Canisius'
There you
touchdowns,
go.
I believe.
So Canisius, obviously, props to them. What a performance by them. What a performance, from their fans as well. Joe's, I appreciated the fight. I think that they got a great program there, and they're going to continue to be great. I was very impressed by that game from both sides.
And then Coach Benkhe, you wanted to touch on St. Francis upsetting Cathedral Prep.
Yeah, and I also want to tell a funny story because I was at Canisius the past couple of years, so I got a chance to be a part of that rivalry. And 2 years ago, we were at St. Joe's and speaking to the student section. I forgot what we were winning by. It was by a decent amount. And I'll never forget, St. Joe's scored, and it was late in the fourth quarter, and the student section of St. Joe's was still there into it. There was a kid doing push-ups on a table that all the kids were
they're still doing it.
Oh yeah, they're still doing it.
And then I
Really
looked
did
over in
too.
the crowd, and somebody that I don't even know said, "Coach Lee, you need to start doing leg day." I'm like, damn. I'm just like, man. that you guys are losing, but you can't do anything but appreciate it. And that goes for both sides of it. So that rivalry, no matter where you stand on it, it's something that I think is so good for the city. And will continue to be, no matter how good or bad each school is just going forward. I think that it's such a cool environment to be a part of. And even flip side at Canisius too, it's a little different because they force St. Joe's to be on the other side of the field rather than at St. Joe's when they're separated by just a couple bleachers. But it's still cool. You still hear him over there, and I can hear him from the opposing sideline, talking crazy. It's such a cool environment.
Yeah, and it only gets better when both teams are doing good. I mean, they're both having great seasons. I love seeing that rivalry be, even to a point, and then respectful enough on both sides to appreciate each other. I know Leon and Gilbert were telling me here that it was clean on the field, and that's what you love to see. You love the guys just getting business done, appreciating each other for what it is. Let everything else get talked out in the stands amongst the people who aren't on the field. But yeah, great game. It's like Coach Lee said, it's great for the city. It's great for Western New York football. And, we're looking for all those rivalries out there to kind of build up to something like that. But yeah, Tyler, do you want to take it away?
Do we got anything else to touch on, guys?
Just the original question about St. Francis beating Cathedral. Shout out to St. Francis on beating Cathedral. We've been trying to do it for years when I was at Canisius. I know they were trying to do it as well. Last year, I think they went into like 8 overtimes or something, and it was like 70 to 64 or something. So they finally did it, and I'm just glad. It doesn't matter what the team is. When a New York team goes and beats an out-of-state team, it's a win for Western New York. So I wanted to highlight that. Shout out to St. Francis on that win. That's huge. It's big for the city. So
yeah, big congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, no, you made us look good, guys. Way to get the out-of-state win. And then I think we're about to wrap it up for the evening.
I think so. Maybe say one last thing about the Joe's Canisius game, man. Joe should have won. Feed Dom. Feed. Yeah.
I agree.
Feed. They gotta feed Dom Cook Jr., man. We gotta start getting that guy like about 15 and 20 touches a game.
He did look good out there.
I know Dom Senior's gonna love watching this.
This one for you, my boy.
Dom needs to touch the ball more for St. Joe's, and Jaden Clark needs to touch him more for Canisius because that kid is special. If you look at his game versus Cathedral Prep, I think he had a punt return for a touchdown, a pick six, and was just eating on offense. Like, he's a kid. You just put the ball in his hands.
Well, hopefully next time we sit down for this podcast, we can talk about Dom Cook Jr. getting the ball more, Jaden Clark getting the ball more. But until then, this has been Live in the Moment, presented by Legends in the Making and West New York Football Report. We'd like to thank our guests, Coach Benkhe, Damari Yancey, and Daquon Stone for joining us. And we will see you guys, I believe, in 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
Awesome.
Yes,
thanks, guys.